We rolling. Oh, darn it. But guess what's not?
Chat.
Correct. Not Chad. Oh my god. That's right. Chad is going to space.
Oh, yes.
Correct.
Very true. Very true.
Carson. So much to talk about. On this, the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Nobody's going to be watching tonight. I'm not worried about that.
That's fine. Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I mean, just hanging out, having a good time.
Yep. Hey, man, have your good times. That's what you're supposed to do in life.
Okay, yeah, St. Patty's was good.
Right?
Yeah, you?
If we weren't both dads, I'd be out partying, but we're both dads. And
I like your shirt.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right, let's 10 seconds. 5, 3, 1, and hey, everybody. Welcome. Not your average show, Mike and Corey. It is St. Patrick's Day 2022. Hi, guys. How's everybody doing out there? We sure pretty much no one will be tuning in live this evening. But guess what? We're still doing the show because
it's cool.
It is.
It's cool.
It is. It's, it is what we do. We do have a lot to talk to you about tonight. We have Holobricks by Disney, also the SLS Rollout. Yeah.
Yes.
We got a lot to talk about on that one. The XCloud, or now Xbox Cloud Gaming Solution, has actually gotten a huge update on iOS, and I'm going to talk a lot about that one actually. And the NHTsa has said you don't need drivers in cars anymore, which is going to be really, really interesting. In a way, and that's also going to touch off a whole. Actually, you know what I just thought about? 3 of these are really just big discussion pieces tonight. They're not going to be super informative. It's just going to be kind of like
right.
There's so much to try to digest in where we're at in those stages of technology. So that's what that. How are you tonight, my friend? How is everything going?
I'm doing good, man. Just trying to keep it together. You know how it goes.
Yes.
That's it, man. Just keep it together. Keep on keeping on. So
that is correct. I cannot remember the last time I gave my kid a bath without coming out completely soaked. So it's now, everything's about splashing. Everything's about this toy, that toy. That is fun. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. Except, man, he freaking douses me pretty good sometimes.
Nice.
So yeah, and you're like,
nice.
And then I go change my shirt, and I'm like, I guess it's all right. Good stuff.
Everybody gets a bath.
Oh yeah, everybody gets a bath in that particular case. So I guess one of the other things we could talk about, which I didn't even think about, is Pete Davidson is going to space. He's not going to be an astronaut. He's going to be a pastronaut. He's taking the old shot on Blue Origin. But interesting enough, he's going up there for free. I don't know if you guys saw the Elon Musk episode where he actually played the role of Chad and actually took his helmet off in space and blew up. But he's not going on a Musk rocket. He's going on a competitor. So space tourism is seeing its celebrities take line to go up and go into space.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Hey, it's the natural progression probably of things, but
I wonder, it would be really cool if, just imagine a year from now, this show just explodes, right? We somehow reach, I don't know, 1 million viewers, right? That'd be great. And
sure.
And somebody's like, you guys need to go up on Blue Origin. Would you go?
Sure.
Okay. How about so Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic? Because I'm still on the Virgin Galactic ship, man. I'd rather be on for a more exciting ride.
Probably Virgin Galactic.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm thinking because it's a longer trip, and
yeah,
I think there'll be more time to. Again, because I know you're not, the rocket part on the plane as you go up. There'll be more time to just enjoy. I think.
Yeah, sure.
Sure,
absolutely. Okay. Hey, well, there's that. All right, folks, we got a lot to talk to you about tonight, and I'm gonna set my. Didn't set my timer before the show started. So synchronize our watches here, and I'm gonna get started here on one that comes to us via the world of Walt Disney and Cambridge University of all places have teamed up together, and this one comes via New Atlas, and it basically says what it says. It says Disney's Holobricks could stack up for larger holograms, and here's another one actually from phsy.org, which actually gives you a little bit better picture of the technology itself. And it's actually really
Yep.
unique in the way that they're doing this. Now Disney is always reaching out for new ways to have an experience with their customer base, and obviously they teamed up with a group that's projecting these large holograms onto these quote unquote stackable cubes. Now there's something that's really unique about these, that they're large scale format 3D images, and they're done by taking basically a
Mhm.
2D image and they're projecting it at three different angles through this actually what they're going to call a coarse integrated optics through a spatial light modulator. Okay. And then what they're basically doing at that point is they're taking these angular tiled 3D holograms that they're running at 1024 by 768, not the highest resolution when not combined,
Right.
obviously,
Yep.
but they're doing it at a 40-degree field of view at 24 frames per second. But what they're saying is that
Mhm.
because the limitations are right now, you can only do 3 gigabytes per second of actual data in transmission for what would be 3D images of those size, okay, is what they're using now. Because if they tried to do three separate images at 4K in the same actual, format, it would be 2 terabytes, undoable. What do you think? I mean, Disney,
Right.
it opens up the door for a lot of different things for Disney to do with their technology and their rights.
Yeah, exactly. I think you hit the nail. Exactly what I was gonna say was it's on the face of it, if you just thought, okay, maybe it's just some other company. If you didn't see Disney involved, I would say, okay, this is interesting. I don't know what the application is. I mean, you could imagine, but it's
Mhm.
not super impressive. Cool. But knowing Disney's involved, and then of course the University of Cambridge as well, they probably already have a plan for it. And Disney, if you guys follow Disney at all, you know the Imagineers. They do exactly kind of what the name implies. They imagine things and then they engineer it to make it real, or the illusion of being whatever they're going for an
Right.
experience for the guest. That being the case, it's quite exciting to see because this is kind of just maybe the beginning and they're going to do other things with it. And that's kind of the interesting part too. You're not always sure where they're going with it, and sometimes when you see the end product, you don't even, the guest doesn't even really know what they're looking at, but it's still cool.
Right.
It's a good experience.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it's pretty interesting. We'll look to see maybe where they try to put this stuff in, but it's other things. I'll pass it back to Tier in a sec, but of course, these kind of technologies don't just stop at Disney. Once somebody kind of makes it, it'll might go somewhere else.
Mhm.
Maybe you could see this going somewhere else. But I think the cool part is, yeah, that it's the illusion of a 3D image of a hologram, but with a flat surface.
Sure.
Obviously, that it's
Yeah,
cool.
and so here's the thing, ever since Tupac, I think it was back in Coachella, I'm gonna say circa 2012, actually walked out on stage as a hologram, this has captured the
Oh yeah.
imagination of audiences all over the place, right? They're wondering what you could do with the technology. Now,
Hmm.
Disney's obviously, in this particular space, one of the things that they actually worked with a number of years ago was they wanted actual eyeballs of their characters to follow people
Yeah.
across the rooms.
Yeah.
So
Those are cool.
they created a
Yeah.
3D printed overlay that actually sits on top of a screen that bends the light, so it gives
Hmm.
those types of shapes the ability to have eyeballs to chase. And this is almost a natural
Yep.
progression of that same technology, right? Now, here's the thing that's neat to me: if you've gotten outside of the animatronic world and you want to bring people into a more holistic universe of actual experiences, they say that these would generate perfect kind of images for an augmented reality search slash virtual reality kind of mixture. So it kind of brings to mind that everybody's trying to capture like a 3D technology type of interaction. But imagine if you were walking through a world of 3D holographic people and
Hmm.
interactions that replace the the animatronics, right? I think that would be really unique, especially how much they have actually played with projection-based technology. If you go back to the long distance times of even the Haunted Mansion, which is basically just a
Hmm.
glass mirror with a
Yes.
projector, right? So what do you
Hmm.
what do you think about that? I mean, what kind of worlds do you think they would be developing that for? Because there's one that comes to mind, but I wonder if we're on the same page.
Yeah, initially it's when I look at something like this and you see the actual tech and the specs, the initial specs of it, you could say, well, there's definitely limitations, 40-degree viewing angle, blah blah blah. But remember again, it's how it's implemented, how
Hmm.
it's installed, and where they control how the viewer views it.
Right.
If you can imagine, again, you're in Disney and they have a whole wall of these, you can imagine, there's a specific, if you're in a rail car, right? You're in a car, so they're controlling the viewing angle
Yeah.
because you're in a vehicle. So that's not even an issue because that they take that out of the equation. There's They just make it so there's the hologram they want you to
Hmm.
see, and then before you would lose the 40-degree viewing angle, then the car turns or
Sure.
something. It's controlled. So I think the technology for there again, and then technology is the same way, right? It's how it's implemented too, like anything else. So I think it's pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, is the first place I went with this as far as, imagine being on a
Hmm.
ride, a Star Wars universe ride, and actually seeing like the Emperor come to life before you in a 3D hologram, right? Or something of that nature where there was one of the things that just came to my mind, and the other one was the Marvel universe. So the two places where they could really exploit this because of, apparently, the what is it? Which one's about to go live here at Epcot, which is Guardians of the Galaxy is about to go live.
Oh
And I'm
yes, yep,
wondering,
yep.
huh?
Guardians.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm just wondering if maybe if there's a surprise or two waiting for some of this technology to actually reach crowds for the first time in smaller quantities, like maybe the attraction line or something like that, in the queue,
Hmm.
just to wet people's whistle, and maybe we're going to see this in not too distant future, but it's exciting nonetheless.
It is. It's always
Yeah,
always cool.
let us
Yep,
know. Yeah,
for
let us. Are
sure.
you done? You done with this one? Alright,
I'm good. Yeah,
let
I'm
us know
good.
what you guys think in the comments below. Obviously, Disney's been working on a huge level of technology investment. Obviously, they're working on robotics to have like Spider-Man like activities with things,
Oh
animatronics
yeah, that's
in
super
the
cool.
sky.
Yep.
They're experimenting with so much, and we're still yet to see the fruits of their labor in one particular area. But let us know what your thoughts are, because for this particular area, we could be some of the first people to actually view these Holobricks in actual production, which
Hmm.
would be neat. So it'd be
Oh
kind of
yeah.
neat. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and share.
Mhm.
All
Yep.
right,
Mhm.
Corey, this one is near and dear to your heart, and I know it's taking place like literally in our backyards. There's a big hubbub out on the Space Center. Why don't you go ahead and talk about it?
Excellent. Yes. So this next one really comes from everywhere along the internet. There's places all over, there's stuff all over the internet talking about it. But if you just were to go look at the SLS, so NASA's SLS rocket, just today I was watching it earlier, just as the show was about to start, and actually I think it's still going on. The Artemis, the fully stacked SLS rocket, has been rolled out of the vehicle assembly building, and it's on its way down to Pad 39
Mm-hmm.
B. So basically, that started at around 6 o'clock tonight. It's supposed to take about 12 hours probably for the whole the crawler to get down to the pad. If you guys know, the crawler moves maximum miles per hour, so it takes a bit of time, but it's moving millions of pounds of weight. So, but it's dude does its job really well. What it's rolling out to do, if you're not following the program at all, it's fully stacked. The Orion capsule's on top. The whole thing's there. It's all going out to Pad 39B for testing. What they're calling a wet dress rehearsal. And basically, it's a full practice run through the countdown, including having propellants loaded onto the vehicles. So it's going to be hot. The whole just as you would expect of the range, the Cape Canaveral range to be closed for
Mm-hmm.
launches. All that same stuff's going to happen for this because the vehicle will have propellant loaded fully on it. So it's could be a possible safety risk. So everybody's still on standby, just like it's a real launch, but not a full launch yet. That is set for the 3rd of April. I do know the Axios crewed mission to the space station
Mm-hmm.
is also supposed to go up that day, so I would guess the crewed mission would take precedence. So SLS probably get bumped. But then after this thing is done, it should take about 8 to 9 days for it to get its whole thing done, and
Right.
then it'll just head back to the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building, and then they're hoping June-ish. We'll see. That's I just heard that today, so that may totally not be the case, but we'll see. And then, you know, it'll be if it'll go whenever it does go back into the pad. That'll be the full launch, we would hope, and
Mm-hmm.
that's uncrewed out to the moon and back. So Artemis 1. You guys know we've been following Artemis on the channel here, SLS. We're certainly excited to see a giant rocket roll out, and we'll be certainly happy to be over there taking a look at it. But we also know you guys have probably mixed feelings about things with SLS. So, Mike, what do you
Oh,
think, bud?
wait, so by the way, right now
I
I've
mean, I'm
got
super excited. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong, but
So during the backdrop, when you're rolling that, I actually brought up the live YouTube feed from spaceflight.com. So thanks to them for providing that. Obviously, no audio because we don't want to listen to it. However,
Mhm.
it's out there. There's Artemis, and look. So here's the controversial part about Artemis in all of its glory, right? And that is the we have a couple of problems with Artemis, and are we really ready to go back to? And I literally say go back, right? Because it is super expensive, non-reusable,
Yes.
non-refundable.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
are going back to the moon, all right? And that's a great achievement for any nation to have claimed to have done once. Forget
Mhm.
about any nation to have done twice. Okay,
Yep.
like in separate generations, using different technology and going back to do different types of experiments. Okay, so there's a lot riding on this. But the other part of it is we've also watched in the time that it's taken Artemis to get to this stage right now, we've watched
Right.
companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin make double, if not triple, the jumps in technology that Artemis is currently riding on. Now, in a sympathetic, or I'd say in a nod to the old types of spaceflight, this is the relic and the remnants of the space shuttle program, which it has proven technologies on board, but the
Yes.
expense
Yeah.
is just massive, and that's really hard to
And
get over, right? That's really tough to
yeah, it
get over.
definitely has actually has actual rocket engines from the shuttle program on board on
Hmm.
multiple pieces, like the interstage, which was supplied by the ESA.
Hmm.
That has, I think, some maneuvering thrusters from the shuttle in the back end, the smaller ones on the shuttle.
Hmm.
They're on that vehicle. So I mean, yeah, there is components that are not new on here, and that's not to say that it shouldn't be. There's proven things on there, and that should be things that can prove and in a way save money for that as well. But I think where Mike's going is there's a lot of money invested in this, and a
Hmm.
lot has happened since the inception of Artemis and SLS
Hmm.
in the sense of reusable things, and not just in space, but everywhere, really. And you guys know that, right? So, but to just have the idea that you could have, if it works, of course, always, if Starship launches and it's fully reusable, I mean, it's fully reusable. I mean, SLS is amazing, and it will be, depending who launches first, right, with the most powerful rocket, whenever it goes. Of
Hmm.
course, if SLS goes before Starship, certainly it's gonna be it'll take the crown. But um,
So here's my thing, though.
it all comes down to when people want to get stuff up to space, inevitably, how much does it cost?
Right.
It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is,
So,
right?
so here's my thing.
So
We're spoiled, though,
yeah,
right? We're spoiled because we get to see a lot of space activity. And let's
of
face
course,
it, let's face it. Well, Falcon launches are pretty cool. Falcon Heavies are cooler. We are salivating over the opportunity to see Starship. But there is something that the shuttle was that it was special to watch a shuttle launch. Okay.
right?
It's louder. The solid rocket boosters produce a completely different plume of energy that rides up into the sky where that trail is left ominously for hours. No, usually 25 minutes,
Well,
30
not yeah,
minutes,
not yeah,
right?
yeah,
But the other part of it is that it's also had some catastrophic failures with this launch system that has cost human lives, right?
right.
And the only other thing that I have to say about it is if Artemis should actually go and this particular mission, Artemis is unsuccessful, not meaning I'm talking about a dry test bed, nobody on board. If this thing goes kaplooey,
Mhm.
I think they're done. I really don't think that this program has a chance to come back at the dollar value per pound of
Hmm.
lifting force to come back from a catastrophic. My 2 cents.
Yeah, pure speculation there, on
Absolutely.
my part, just off the seat of my pants. I would say it'd also be quite difficult, with the things we've talked about before, how the space industry has kind of changed since SLS was started to be a program, technology with other companies and things. Yeah, it would be. I mean, while I say that I know, and you guys know, the viewers know that there's so many better or worse, there's so many hands in the pot for SLS.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have a lot of jobs in a lot of different places that have worked on SLS, and that's great. Um, but again, I always am gonna just try to caveat and say, somebody in Washington's gonna say, well, how much is it gonna cost, right? This thing just if we lose one, how much are we set back? And
You're
somebody might say, you know what, no, I'm not signing that, and then that's it.
over.
It's
It'd be
we
over.
try not to go too much in politics there on the channel, you guys know, but this is a NASA, it's a government rocket,
But
so
I
it
don't think
is
that's
it
political. I think
is what
that's
it
just
is.
good budgeting. I mean, it's just you just
Yeah.
have too many competitors out there. I don't think that's a political statement. I think it's
No,
more
no,
of
I'm not
a
I'm not saying that we shouldn't just mention that, but I'm
yeah.
just saying that, it is, somebody somewhere in government. If we lose one, they're gonna be like, And how much did we just lose?
A lot. All right, anyhow, all right. We don't want to.
So
And look, we're not saying it to be negative. We're saying it because this is
no.
this
Oh my
is the
gosh.
edge of space exploration. This is not an easy place. Look, I've never stood close to an actual rocket, but I've been in the same room as the Saturn. I've been at the same point of viewing a shuttle, on the pad, and also the replica.
Mhm.
And when you actually see it in real life and you realize that thing's going to go into space, it's a massive achievement when you can take 230 feet of
Mhm.
metal and
Oh
just
yeah.
throw it up there at velocities that you and I wouldn't survive in a heartbeat if you weren't encapsulated in something. That's still a feat, but it's still dangerous.
Yeah, the amount of energy that is released. I mean, crazy little facts if you guys don't even kind of follow space that closely. I mean, the energy in just the sound alone of shuttle launches and rocket launches would liquefy your insides if you're too
Yeah.
close to the pad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally that's how it is.
There's a reason why
So
that's a nature
it's
preserve
very
out there.
impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. So it's always exciting to see something
They
that
say the
goes up.
preponderance of some of the creatures that don't make it out of the radius, prior to a launch are actually deafened, which is sad to know. But sometimes it happens that some bird species out there and so on and so forth do go deaf because they don't get out of the range in time. But anyhow, all right. On a brighter note.
Okay. All right, cool. So guys, thanks for all the support. Like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. We're always looking to track space stuff, and of course you can be very assured if SLS is gonna, whenever we know SLS is gonna go, they're gonna be there to take pictures because it's gonna be so cool. So thanks for the support.
There you go.
Thanks.
All right. This one's near and dear to my heart, and this one comes to you via The Verge, and it's quite unique in the aspect of that you'll notice something. Microsoft has improved their XCloud gaming service. However, the difference is that they've only improved it at this point now for the iPhone and iPad. Now, myself personally, we are still waiting for on this show for the Steam Deck to show up, which it hasn't because apparently being the first 16 minutes in line doesn't get you one guaranteed delivered on launch day. However, my backup gaming system is actually my iPad Pro when I'd like to, and I tried the old version of the cloud gaming experience, and let me tell you something, it was pretty tragic. It wasn't great. And it made me actually go out and order the Steam Deck because I was like, look, we're way off from actually having, I think, an all-in-one streaming game application for your device that makes it feel like you're playing games at home with a high frame rate, low latency, and all that stuff, right? What's going on, James? And the part of it is that guess what? I took a little time today and I tested the new cloud service on my iPad Pro via a Wi-Fi connection and a tethered Ethernet connection. And let me tell you something. They fixed it. Okay. They fixed it well enough that for the first time I went, look, if I'm not doing competitive gaming and I just want to have an on-the-road gaming experience, I could actually play Halo Infinite with my controller and comfortably say I gamed. But there's caveats. Let me hear your opinions on the caveats of now cloud gaming.
Yeah, so I mean, first off, very cool that they're making an update, and they say right in the article, literally they say, hey, we've listened to you guys talk about input latency and whatnot. We made some changes. It works a whole lot better. I actually was on the video call earlier with Mike when he was testing it. Yeah, it works much better. And that was always one of our concerns with cloud gaming, not just this service, but any cloud services. It comes down to a bit of obviously input lag, just general how does the game feel, but also what games are you playing?
Mm-hmm.
Because as Mike mentioned, competitive, you just can't. You can't have any input lag when competitive. But regardless, again, if you're playing games that single player games or RTS game, turn-based games, stuff like that, this is perfect. It's gonna work. It's gonna work great. One of my notes here I have written down is Steam Deck. What do you think, man? I mean, you said something earlier. You're like, "Wow, I could just totally launch." Well, I can't remember what game it was. I could launch this game from my Xbox and not even have to worry about Steam.
Yeah,
Steam
no.
library.
So here's the one. So the ones that I tried were MLB The Show, Halo Infinite. Okay, and those are the two majors that I tried because MLB The Show Home Run Derby is an instant foreteller of lag and latency, right? And I honestly, before I couldn't play it unless I was on an actual Ethernet connection, and it was poor at best. I actually played it on Wi-Fi, and I actually played it on the Ethernet connection, and it was almost as if I was playing it in my living room. Didn't make a difference to me. I could have that as a mobile gaming experience. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, Halo Infinite, different scenario because I could probably play campaign by myself, but I wouldn't get into a multiplayer match because the frustration would be
Right.
that I'd get my ass kicked because the latency would be too bad.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but here's the other part of it is, right? They've improved both. They've optimized the video output and the network data. But comparatively now they're at 1080p, 60 FPS, no 4K, no HDR. However, NVIDIA is already pushing past that at 4K, HDR,
Yep.
60 frames per
Yep.
second, and
Mhm.
1440 at 120. So there's companies out there that are proving that you can get a really good cloud-based gaming experience, really good, not great, not
Mhm.
competitive, not professional, but really good, okay, out there. But it still now brings me to one other question. A Steam Deck connected to a remote projector or an external monitor is still going to be a far superior gaming experience. However, lots of people are already saying, like Linus, you can't put Windows on it. It's really not that great yet. It's not made for prime time. And some of the Xbox library that I would really like to play, like Halo Infinite,
Mhm.
is not fully supported. So what are you supposed to do? There's a stopgap. Cloud gaming, at least if you're an Xbox fan, this is suitable. It can work, right?
Mhm.
But man, they're getting trounced in the cloud gaming, I'd say, environment as a whole, Microsoft. And that I don't get.
I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, I guess if we're talking about, like, say, in this case, Microsoft Cloud Gaming, they're running, they're trying to run the game just streaming, just stream the experience.
Hmm.
If we were to just take just a quick snippet, at the Steam Deck, they're trying to take games that were not made for Steam Deck and run them through their emulator. I think it's called Proton, if I'm not messing
I
that
think
up.
so. I think you're right.
And then so they're trying to optimize it for Steam Deck.
Hmm.
So it's not quite apples to apples, but kind of. But anyway, point being, yeah,
Hmm.
as you mentioned earlier, yeah, Nvidia's got one. If that's what you're looking for, I mean, Nvidia is on top right now. So I mean, um, as always, it depends a bit on the game. And even James is saying here in chat, he said it's okay for certain games. Yeah, not everything works as well.
Right.
But there are other options out there, and we've said before, stream cloud gaming. If somebody's out there and they don't really have the money or the want or the desire to build a PC and then keep it updated every year, 2
Hmm.
years, cloud gaming is getting much better.
So here's a problem, right? The
So
NVIDIA service is $99 for 6 months membership. But here's the problem, right? If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you get the Xbox Cloud Gaming service for free. You just log in and
it's
use it,
true.
and
Yep.
which is really
Yep.
nice. Okay. Which means now here's the thing. I'm invested in the Xbox, universe once again. I finally got a Series X. I love it. It's actually fun.
Right.
For multiplayer Xbox games, though, I've actually migrated back to my PC because having a little bit more screen retail space for Halo Infinite makes a huge difference. Being
Mhm.
okay for gaming is look, if you're a casual gamer, that supplants itself. But now here's the problem: at $99 for 6 months, within basically a 3-year period, I could have had myself
Mhm.
an Xbox. Okay.
Sure.
So where does that cost effectiveness in this realm of being casual gamer to expert gamer towards, if I spent $600 on this, I could have built a low grade PC and already had a voluminous library, or I could have had Steam Deck. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it might come a bit down to just awareness. Somebody saying in marketing, make sure somebody points out this, because, like you said, if you buy the Xbox Cloud Pass, Game Pass, not only do you get this XCloud service, you get the
Right.
games, right? And I think
Yeah.
you just said that too, but that's something to just keep in mind. Is if you're, I mean, there are services out there where you can get cloud gaming,
Hmm.
streaming, and get
Yeah.
games, which obviously the Microsoft one is what we're
Sure.
talking about. So it's I admit I still have the PC, the PC I built. It's been changed a few times now, but it's been kind of stagnant lately. Been in the market for a 3080 for two
You and
years
everybody
now.
else.
So,
And
um,
that's why I got the Series
but
X.
life is life, and I'm having less time to game anyway. So, but here
You
you go.
will, that time will come back to you, number one. Number two, okay, the difference is, and thanks James for the shout out on the Xbox Series X. Yeah, it's been a fun experience for me. I guess the difference is at this point, Steam Deck still seems like a great option, right? And I'm going to tell you because my Steam library is one of the things that I'd like to have accessible that doesn't fold over into my Xbox library, right? And if I
Mhm.
happen to be on the road and I bring a dock with me, I could dongle into any
Right.
monitor, any TV, bring an Xbox remote controller with me, and literally have the same experience as having a portable game system with me on the road. Yet it's playing all my PC games, and it's some of the titles that would be applicable. So I applaud Xbox for
Yep.
making the move because it actually made me think I don't have to put Windows on the Steam Deck when it comes, but it's an alternative towards mobile gaming, right? Towards guys that just get on the road. You're away for a couple of days. Kids go to bed. Wife, gets herself
Mhm.
in bed at 10 o'clock at night. You're on a vacation or something. You still feel like just sitting up and playing a game. It's an opportunity.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, glad you could test it out for everybody because yeah, it makes it viable now.
Yeah, I just to clarify, and they're available on PC as well. I'm not sure which the Xbox titles. I think that's what James was referring to, that when you're in.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep. You can buy them
So
through the Xbox Store on your PC. Yep.
well, it also bodes well for what Microsoft has done as far as what they've acquired, as far as the gaming acquisitions they've done recently, which have been massive. Number one, number two, the fact that now EA has rolled their subscription-based gaming into Game Pass Ultimate as well. So I don't need to buy a Madden game anymore. All the titles that I've really wanted to see supported, I've gotten them basically for my subscription price, which is, for me, that's what I would have paid for. I think it's actually cut down how much I would have paid for in games by at least $300 or $400 a year. So it's worth it to me. I would have spent that
Yep.
money anyhow on, you go out and you spend like 5 grade A titles out there. That's $60 per title. There
Yeah.
you go. That adds up pretty quick. You go 10 titles, you're at $600. You can't beat it. So, all right, folks, let us
Cool.
know what you think in the comments below. This one is going to be ongoing. We've talked about it when it first launched. I've tested it now twice. It's fantastic. I now suggest, if you walked away from it before, try it again. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe,
Yeah, that
share, and let us know what you
you
think in the
guys know the
comments
drill.
below. Other than
Exactly. Exactly.
No, I haven't been drinking. So anyhow, all right. Well, if I had been drinking, this next one that Corey would be talking about would be fantastic for
It would
getting
be very
home.
poignant. Great
Great
segue
segue.
there.
There you go. There you go. So here's Corey to talk to us about the last topic of the night, and take it away, Corey.
Hello, this one comes from Tesla Rowdy, and basically it's saying the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration basically just says they halt their requirement for human control interfaces to be in fully autonomous vehicles to pass crash test requirements, is to clarify what they're actually saying. So just reading that, that's pretty interesting. We kind of know there's obviously a huge push for fully autonomous or partially autonomous vehicles from level 1 all the way to level 5 to go through, in the marketplace. But it's interesting to see that, the government entity, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, says they're not requiring the human interface. So literally get a picture of a car with no steering wheel and no pedals, and that's the way, they're requiring. So as you go through it and you read, it's interesting. You might think, okay, maybe Tesla's spearheading this and they got, somebody in there. But you dig through the details and you find that actually back in February, GM petitioned to have self-driving cars have all their human control services removed. So it's some of the big players that you guys know, not just some of the new upstarts, Rivian or Tesla or whatever. So it's pretty interesting. And I will say one thing, that the quote from the deputy at the Highway Traffic Safety Administration did say that the way they have the rules set, it doesn't preclude the manufacturers from having less safety. They still, the way they've written the rules, it still says the manufacturers still have to put safety first. But the way it is now is that level of safety is integrated from the beginning of the process. So while I have no specifics, that's what they're saying. So yeah, there you go. Mike,
I love
what
the
are you,
comment in
what are you thinking?
chat. Driving is boring. Let me do it. Let my car do it so I can play on my iPad. Look, if Elon Musk had his way, you'd be playing your Steam Deck or your Steam, library on the Cyberpunk as well on
You've been playing Cyberpunk in your
in your
Cybertruck
Cybertruck for that.
without touching
Yeah,
the
without touching the
controls.
controls. But that is a number one wins the internet comment of the day. But look, yes, driving's
Mhm.
boring, but there's another thing that people are overlooking. In order for there to be mass adaptation for the eVTOL market to go to like an unmanned or a driverless environment, some of those steps are going to have the American driving public become more comfortable with having autonomous vehicles share the road. Now, let's face it, Tesla has had its fair of ups and downs with the NTSB and other, parts of their
Sure.
self-driving program. And to yet, they're the only one that we can hold to an example because many of the other self-driving programs are either not proven or require so much assistance that you really can't have somebody fall asleep at the wheel yet, or there's not enough of them on the road, right? So a lot of caveats in this becoming quote unquote, the NHTsa saying, oh, you don't have to have, the actual steering wheel in the car anymore if you have driverless technology. But this is it's a stepping stone. This is how technology makes the
Yeah.
next jump. And this is how you find someone like a Tesla or like a Rivian or someone else that also benefits
Or
or
GM.
GM that benefits from this, right? So I said a lot there. Digest as you may, pick apart some of the things that I just put out there.
Yeah, I think what you said is probably correct. It's a stepping stone, right? They haven't laid out any specifics here. They haven't told us these rules that the manufacturers must adhere to from the beginning of the process. And again, remember, I know that article's title says halts requirement of human controls in fully autonomous vehicles, but remember the caveat down there was that they said to meet crash test standards. So kind of what that says, maybe not like standards to be road
Hmm.
going. It doesn't say that, but let's say it might get a really bad crash test rating if the car's fully autonomous system is not ready, of
Right.
course. Or they're not going to certify at all because, again, hey, there's no human controls in the car. So if something else doesn't work, then it's not certified to drive on the road
Right.
anyway, which that's what they're saying. They're really high standard with manufacturers putting safety first. So um, I think this is something I've definitely passed you guys in chat. What do you guys think? As far as, again, this is a stepping stone. We know nothing's,
Well,
you
I
know,
know Gingy.
there's not a car out there tomorrow, but there's, if you guys look at the autonomous driving, companies like Waymo have done some things that work pretty
Right.
well in cookie cutter situations. Nobody's cracked the get in the car in any state, in any driving condition, in any weather, and go to A to B with any kind of craziness and parking lots and all that, and it just works. We're not quite there yet,
I think that
but
happens
this is a
first with
stepping
shipping.
stone. The regulators, this is a stepping stone.
Yes,
So
I
yeah,
think that happens first with shipping, though. Honestly, I think short route shipping and or over road delivery, like some sort of
you mean
yeah.
highway stuff?
Well, no, I'm talking about
Like,
like imagine one of the companies that would take advantage of something like this first would be say an Amazon, right? And they want to have a delivery service that just basically drops it off on your not necessarily your doorstep, right? But an automated driving service, service there where the driver sits back and just monitors so he doesn't have to do the laborious task of driving and he can be readying to literally just get packages off the truck, right? Something
okay,
like
yeah.
that. I could see that as being one of the first applications where if you're going to use completely driverless technology. But I think in that particular case, look, we know that Tesla's ready to do it, right? And you're going to be sitting at the helm. But I'm talking about an on demand service here, like a taxi service. I don't see that being the first application of something like this. I see it being some sort of delivery service that takes advantage of it.
I was gonna say I see it like factory to warehouses or between warehouses for Amazon or anybody big
Yeah, yeah.
chain, right? If you need something, a whole stack of stuff to be moved in a tractor trailer from Atlanta to Miami, something like this, where it drives from Atlanta to Miami, leaves the factory or leaves the warehouse in one place and goes to another warehouse and just arrives and
No,
it
yeah.
pings the center, hey, I'm here outside or whatever, and that's how I see it first. But anyway,
Well, now, so here's the other thing, right? I'm wondering at what level, right? So here's one of the things that I see a parallel also in aviation, right? Redundancy, and when you have an automated system like this, you're going to have to also have some rules once they get past these crash tests and these other different things that they're going to have as part of the rules for having autonomous drivers or with controls removed, that they're also going to have a level of, well, we already know that they have the level 1, 2, 3 of automation, but what's your redundancy going to be? What's your acceleration limit going to be? What's your deceleration limit going to be? What's your reaction time limit on the automated system going to be? There's going to be a lot more of those caveats, and obviously there's also going to be what's your adherence to levels of friction in, say, rain, snow. Do these things suddenly become, no longer usable in bad weather conditions? Who knows? Another comment here. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say what I foresee happening with this, at least in the scenario that I'm talking about with big chains and maybe just vehicles over a certain weight, is exactly what we're probably seeing in air taxi stuff, where there's a center, where there's a person available to take over the vehicle remotely.
Right.
And that person is responsible for monitoring, 5, 10 vehicles or whatever it might be. And the vehicle pings the service center and says, hey, I got a question or whatever, then the person can take over. I mean, maybe it's a stopgap. I don't know. I mean, that depends, of course, on the service for, remote internet service, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking.
Well, let's wrap this one up because there's a couple of comments in there in the chat that kind of go off topic, but I'd like to talk about them. So
yep, same thing. Yeah. So we'll get you comments first, but I'll wrap it up just the segment. So again, thanks for the comments and the guys hanging out in chat. Like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal. We very much appreciate the support. Please let your comments down below on what you think about fully self-driving cars not needing a human steering wheel and all the parts in there legally. Well, not totally done deal, but not totally done deal. But you guys get the deal. So thanks for the support. Thank you.
All right. So Gingy3 says, drones deliver pizza. Why not my Amazon box? Because no one's interested in shooting your pizza box out of the sky yet. That's why. I think look, Amazon still has a lot of, and my first thing is I see an Amazon, drone flying over a neighborhood, and I got a shotgun in my backyard or a net, and I'm going to try to capture your package because look, I could probably get away with it. Who knows? But on the other side of that is, I'm joking. Okay, it's a joke, but there's a possibility. The other part of it is though, I think Amazon's struggling. I think a lot of these companies haven't really reached that mark yet because I think they're struggling with the complexity of having to get those things to be done. Small scales right now, test units look good, but I think they're struggling with the complexity of having to do all that work because Amazon is so freaking dominant in delivering so much stuff.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think part of their problem as well, at least currently, is regulators. We know we've covered some in the show before where they talk about the fact that delivery drones and other low-level, small, lighter drones are supposed to, fly 400 feet or below, and there might be dedicated airways that separate them from regular general aviation traffic or commercial traffic, but also manned and unmanned, other manned traffic, but also air taxis, which is another part of the industry that's trying to be figured out regulatory-wise and airspace-wise, in the national airspace system. So there's more to it than just the tech. I know you guys in chat. I mean, just to kind of what you say there. And I'm sure you know too. But yeah, there's more to it than just the can it do it. But then somebody somewhere in the government saying, no, we need to have a chat about that.
Not yet.
So
not there yet.
Yeah,
a little bit longer. One of the things that's actually that what I totally forgot about is that Volkswagen actually got the ID Buzz out in the press units, which is actually kind of unique. Took a couple pictures.
Yeah, they're actually making it. Yeah,
they're actually making it, which we'd covered it way back, but it's actually coming out now, so that's going to be unique. And the other thing is, my car still doesn't have a VIN number. Totally forgot on that update. And they've shut down the factory.
It's a crazy world at the moment.
All right, folks. Well, look. First of all, thanks for the comments tonight. It is great to see people out and about on your St. Patty's evening and sharing your time with us. We are greatly appreciative. And we are going to have to sign off now. We appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you guys next week, next Thursday, same time. And we'll have another great discussion with you on technology, gaming, and all this other stuff. And also, I think we finally have enough content that's in the quote-unquote the can to finally start cutting up smaller episodes and start releasing them on a regular basis so we can actually keep the volume up on the channel. But thank you so much for the comments, and everybody have a great night. Enjoy.
Yeah, and remember, guys, down below, any of these videos we put out, if you got something we haven't covered that kind of you think we'd like to do, put it down there. We're happy to check
Yeah.
stuff out for you. We've had a lot of good comments in the past that we've looked into, and there's some good stuff out there. So thanks so
Yeah,
much.
especially
Thank you.
if you guys have more to add and you want to see us cover something, let us know, and we'll give it the treatment. And if we do, we'll leave a comment below, and we'll let you know that we're going to do it on the show, so you guys can participate. So
Yeah,
it'd be great to have you here. All
Sounds
right.
great.
All right, we got to go. Thanks for the time, folks. We'll catch you next week, and have a great night. Happy St. Patrick's Day. See you guys real soon. Take care. Bye
Take it easy,
bye.
everybody. See you next time.
Later. Show
Bye-bye.
101 in the books. Good night, Gingy.
Uno,
Have a good night.
cetera uno. Good night.
Peace. Later.